Queen Lyra of the Valyrian Empire stood on the observation deck of her flagship, watching as the human ship docked with practiced ease. The marriage alliance between Earth and her empire had been a political necessity, but she carried a genuine curiosity about the humans who had recently stepped onto the galactic stage. To most elder civilizations, humans were seen as plain in appearance and primitive in technology compared to the starfaring empires that had ruled for ages. Her betrothed, Captain Marcus Thompson, had arrived 3 cycles earlier as Earth's diplomatic envoy. By human standards, he seemed ordinary, just over 6 feet tall, with brown hair and steady gray eyes. To the Valyrians, however, who stood at least 2 feet taller and possessed an almost godlike elegance, Marcus appeared fragile. Still, he carried himself with quiet dignity, speaking little but observing everything. "Your Majesty," her aide whispered, "the ceremony preparations are complete." Lyra adjusted the ceremonial crown that marked her as ruler of 12 star systems, and nodded. This union would place Earth under Valyrian protection while opening valuable human trade routes through the dangerous Outer Rim. It seemed a fair bargain, though she still wondered what challenges lay ahead in understanding such a different species. The wedding followed ancient Valyrian tradition within the great hall of her flagship. Marcus stood at her side, calm despite being surrounded by towering nobles whose strength could crush stone. He spoke his vows in flawless Valyrian, having mastered the language with surprising speed. His dedication to learning her culture impressed her. "I pledge my strength to defend you and your people," Marcus declared. Among the Valyrians, where power and might defined status, the words carried deep meaning. The nobles, however, could barely contain their laughter. What strength could a human offer their queen? Even Lyra felt a brief pang of pity for him, recognizing his sincerity despite his obvious limitations. Yet their first months together turned out better than she expected. Marcus revealed a sharp mind and strong tactical sense, often resolving disputes through careful negotiation rather than force. He studied Valyrian history eagerly and showed real interest in her people. Still, Lyra noticed he carefully avoided combat training and the physical trials that formed the heart of Valyrian culture. The true test came during their visit to the mining colony on Kepler-7, a remote world that produced rare crystals, vital for faster-than-light travel. As their shuttle descended through the atmosphere, alarms blared. Unidentified ships approaching from the asteroid field. The pilot reported. "Configuration matches Cronix battlecruisers." Lyra's heart tightened. The Cronix were ruthless raiders, infamous across the galaxy for their cruelty. Massive and merciless, they destroyed or enslaved every world they touched. 3 of their warships now descended on the unprotected colony, weapons bristling. "Take us to the surface immediately," Lyra ordered. "We must evacuate the civilians." The shuttle landed near the settlement, just as the first Cronix drop pods streaked from the sky. Within minutes, towering reptilian warriors, each over 8 feet tall, marched into the colony, their bloodthirsty eyes gleaming. The small Valyrian security force braced for the coming battle. The defenders made their stand, taking positions behind makeshift barricades. Marcus stayed silent, watching as the Cronix advanced with terrifying precision, their armored bodies shining in the alien sun. Lyra drew her ceremonial blade, fully aware this might be her last fight. "Stay behind me," she told Marcus. "When they break through, run to the bunker." The first wave struck like a storm. Despite their skill and bravery, the Valyrian soldiers were driven back by sheer numbers and ruthless force. One by one, they fell toward the central plaza where terrified civilians huddled together. Lyra fought with every ounce of her strength, but even her royal training could not change the outcome. Then disaster struck. A massive Cronix warrior, larger than the rest, smashed through the line and charged at her. His spiked war club swung down, powerful enough to shatter her skull in a single blow. Lyra raised her blade, knowing she only had seconds left. Marcus stepped forward. Time seemed to slow as the human moved. His hand shot out and caught the descending war club mid-swing, stopping it cold as if the weapon had struck a wall. The Cronix warrior froze in shock as Marcus's fingers bent the metal handle with ease. Then, with his free hand, Marcus struck once precise. The towering brute was launched backward, crashing into a stone wall with bone-rattling force. He didn't rise again. The battlefield fell silent. Every eye turned to the human who had just done the impossible. Marcus brushed the dust off his uniform as though nothing unusual had happened. "Honey," he said casually to Lyra, "you might want to get the civilians out of here. Things are about to get messy." What followed wasn't a battle, it was a display. Marcus moved through the Cronix forces like a storm given flesh. Every strike was clean, devastating, unstoppable. Warriors strong enough to crush steel couldn't lay a hand on him. Energy blasts burned through the air, but Marcus caught them in his palms and hurled them back at their sources. Even when 3 Cronix attacked at once, he dispatched them faster than the eye could follow. In less than 10 minutes, the entire raiding force was broken, either lying unconscious or fleeing back to their ships. The warships turned and vanished into the asteroid field, abandoning the fight. The colony was saved. The people stared in stunned silence at the unassuming human who had turned the tide of battle single-handedly. Lyra approached, awe in her eyes. "Marcus, how is this possible? Humans are supposed to be one of the weakest species. Marcus gave a small sheepish smile, running a hand through his hair. Well, technically that's true. Most humans are, but I'm not exactly. Most humans. Her gaze hardened. What do you mean? Earth joined the galactic community 50 years ago. We've had time to study your medicine, your enhancement methods, your training systems. I've spent the last 20 years preparing for this assignment. He gestured at the battlefield around them. Turns out human physiology responds extremely well to Valyrian strength enhancements. Something about our bone density and muscle fibers. So yes, I've been enhanced. Lyra's breath caught. Enhanced, trained, and optimized. Marcus confirmed. His expression turned serious. Earth wanted to make sure its representative could handle anything. I didn't tell you sooner because I wanted you to see me for who I am, not just what I can do. As they stood among the grateful colonists, Lyra felt a new sense of admiration for her husband and for humanity itself. Humans might have been newcomers to the galactic stage, but they carried something greater than strength alone, the ability to adapt, to learn, and to push beyond every expectation. She took Marcus's hand, her voice soft with wonder. And what other surprises should I expect from your people? Marcus smiled, a playful glint in his eyes. Oh, he said, you haven't seen anything yet.